So welcome back. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce James Elliott, a
Hey,
business
hey.
transformation expert who really is focused on helping entrepreneurs build sustainable businesses that don't sacrifice their well-being by creating systems that promote growth while also maintain a level of harmony in your life. Now, one thing that I really enjoy about James' approach is that he focuses on trying to beat burnout by scaling, by creating systems. And especially, and we talk about systems a lot here.
Yeah.
And I think that our conversation is really going to be focusing on how you, as a solo professional, can scale while juggling your multiple responsibilities. So, thanks so much for
You
joining us, James.
you got it, brother. You got it. Absolutely good to hear, Romesh. And you're right. It's whether it's systems and your mindset systems and structures, whether it's actual hardcore software systems, whether it's systems like hiring, delegating, you name it, or even systems to figure out what boundaries do I have? Who do I say yes to? Who do I say no to? Who gets in my calendar? Who doesn't? How do I structure my calendar? Like you said,
Oh my
it's
goodness, yeah.
systematizing things and making sure that well, even that this thing is working optimally too, and we break out of that know-it-all syndrome or the I don't need anyone's help syndrome. Let me, or if often we're let me prove it to you. I prove I can do it all by myself syndrome, which is very limiting as well. So let's talk about this and help everyone succeed today.
Amazing. So, let's begin by talking about your journey. I mean, can you share a little bit of your story and some of what led you here today
For sure, yeah.
and your expertise?
It's been an amazing journey, hell of a scary one sometimes, and an amazing journey too. Wow. Well, from like intense bullying, anxiety, depression, when I was younger, to obesity issues in my teens, health issues as well, to wow, it just is, working for IBM, working for Lenovo and Novell for 14 years. So I was in the corporate world for 14 years. I learned a lot, but I also learned that I'm not meant to be in a corporate environment. I can go back and teach and talk to business leaders or entrepreneurs and support them, but I'm not meant to be inside in a cubicle. That's for sure. So 11 years ago, started my own business. Since I've been coaching people, helping businesses succeed for really my entire career, even back at IBM and Novell, that was my role, was to help people succeed, help our business partners succeed. Because when they did well, we did well. So it's been interesting being in the corporate environment, and then just over the years, like I said, last 11 years, my business, and just going even from a natural health practitioner into becoming a business coach. And although I don't love the term business coach because I'm more than that, and I think that a lot of the harmony and freedom and mindset is a huge, and personal development is a huge portion to growing your business, making more money, and more importantly, making it scalable and making it sustainable. Because I too have burnt out many times. I've done it the wrong way. I had my head in my butt. I'm like, let me show you. I'm going to prove to all the bullies, or prove to dad, or prove to whoever that I could do this, and I don't need anyone, right? I could do it all myself, which again is a limiting belief and a huge limiting factor for us. Or screw you, I'll show you type thing. So working on those beliefs and working on the mindset and thinking about my thinking was huge, and looking at the things that got in my way about being a know-it-all, because I am so researched. I love learning, love education, and it just getting out of that know-it-all syndrome, getting out of the, screw you, or I'll show you, or I don't need anyone's help. I'll prove how good I am, how smart I am by doing all myself. Oh my God. What an exercise in futility, honestly, because no one is widely successful without help from others, a lot of others. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's like, I'm not a self-made man. People say, oh, you're a self-made man. No, I've had hundreds and thousands of people help me. And I too, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of people help me. So it's been a journey of, rises and falls too, even including getting laid off on the height of my corporate career twice. Like I'm talking like winning awards club, winning employee of the year, and then 6 months later, gone. Winning your president's club, and gone. A month or so later, just corporate downsizing, corporate right sizing, and juggling, and
Yep.
all these things. So it's been an amazing journey, up and down and all around. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. I've failed a lot, air quotes. although that's sometimes one of the best ways to learn and also get our heads out.
Absolutely.
So that,
And I think that's where, and just to jump in, I think that's the challenge, which I think when you start your business, there's this real fine line where you have to say, I don't want to fail. I don't want to screw up. But at the same time,
works.
you have to also recognize that if you don't fail, quote unquote,
Yeah,
again, the air quotes,
exactly.
you're never actually going to learn and grow.
Exactly.
And I think that's where, and especially in the legal profession, where the word failure is a big F word, right? And it's because your clients and everybody's putting a lot of trust in you, and they really want to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. And the fact that the fact that they can't, or then the fact that you even think that there's a possibility that you fail,
Sure.
it's a huge thing,
Yeah.
you know,
It's a non-starter
and
for most.
it's a non-starter, exactly. And so well, one of the things that when we talk about mindset, I think what we really talk about is mindset
Sure.
transformation. I mean,
Yeah.
um, you talked about um, you had significant accolades, and then months later, you were let go. I mean, that's obviously got to do a number on sort of your self-identity, right? So
Sure.
talk to me a little bit about that experience and what are the things you did to try and get out of that rut, to get out of that hole?
Fair. And it's interesting too, because whether it's with athletes, whether with other people in the corporate world who are flying high and then laid off, or let's get sick, or something happens, people's fall from grace. Again, I too had that fall from grace too, and it can be a rude awakening or a wake up call. And fortunately, the first time I maybe wasn't listening to the universe well enough. The second time I'm like, all right, wake up call. Something or someone is saying this is not for you. So we're gonna do it again and again. And you get laid off again and again until you get it, James. And so being able to listen and again get my head under my ass as well, which is a problem for a lot of us, and it can be very limiting, especially for people who are high performance people, high influence people, just people that are excelling or in a great high place. It can be, I mean, the fall from grace can be good for us, whatever that fall from grace is, because again, it gets us to maybe listen to others or hire mentors or say, okay, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I can't do it all on myself. And maybe I need to stop the ego from saying, screw you, I don't need anyone, or let me prove how good I am or how powerful I am or how worthy I am because I'll show you how to do it all myself.
Yeah.
Maybe that needs to stop. And I need to just humble myself and realize we all need support. And that's why that's why anyone helps anyone. I'm not sure if I answered your question, by the way.
No, you did. No. I guess it's more, I mean, I guess what I love to hear these stories because we all, at some point in life, are not going to do as we expect ourselves to be,
Sure.
right? And what I I think what I love exploring with everyone and with all my guests is the role that, like the journey that you talked about. I mean, how do you maintain, I guess, confidence through these challenging periods? Like, how do you get up? Like, how do you make sure that you get up and keep moving? Because you're going to keep moving. It's just, what does that look like? So what are the steps you can do to maintain the confidence?
It's a great question because look, it's January 6th already. Like life will pass you by. Christmas is gone, New Year's is gone, November's gone. I mean, I was even saying recently, like I was thinking, wow, summer's almost over. And here we are, New Year. So I think it's
Yep.
very important because life will pass us by, is to look at where is my ego limiting me? Ego can be a very good thing, but looking at, okay, where is my ego limiting me? Where am I on a treadmill? Just running and running, putting effort and time and energy in, and not getting the results that I want, or just where am I not getting the results that I want? Or if I am getting some or all the results I want, how is it killing me? How is it affecting my health, my relationships with intimate relationships, family, friends, loved ones, kids? How is this affecting me? And do I need some support? And the answer is probably yes, since we all do. And what support is that? I think we need to be very, very careful with the ego. And yes, be proud of yourself. Be proud of what you accomplished. And for years, people told me I couldn't do something, whether bullies or teachers or whatever. And so, hence the ego saying, "Screw you! I don't need you. I'm not going to listen to you. I'll do it on my own." It was a driver, but it became very, very limiting. So I think we need to
Yeah.
realize that we can always use help, especially when we want to go to that next level. Well, in my opinion, it's best not to do it alone. So whether it's with a community, whether even an informal community of friends or people who have similar businesses to you, but also importantly, people that have different businesses than you, because they can give you different insights. And hey, well, this is working over in this industry. Do you want to try something similar? That kind of thing. Mentors, coaches, advisors, educating yourself constantly. And again, bringing that ego down, thinking, well, maybe I don't know everything, because there is so much to know.
And yeah, absolutely. I think from everything you're saying, the whole idea of listening to yourself and listening to others
Mm,
and to other people that may not be in the same business as you, I think the common thread there is both humility and curiosity,
agree.
right?
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
And so just recognizing that you might not know everything and having the humility, you know what, just accepting that and then using that as a platform to say, I need to learn and who do then ask them, who do I learn from? Right.
Well, exactly.
Um,
It's important.
and so it was funny. That was one thing you were saying there. I had the opportunity to listen to be part of like a New Year's workshop
Cool.
thing with a guy named Sahil Bloom. And one of the meditations that he was talking about that reflective question is just imagine you are the star of your own movie and the audience is screaming at you to do or not to do something.
Don't go in that door. Go.
What a,
Yeah.
yeah, I just think, like, what
Pass
is
the
that
one hour or
thing?
whatever it is. Yeah.
And it was just such a really cool exercise. You say, okay, I'm in the star. What are we doing? And especially when you're in these times of crisis, right? That analogy was really cool because it actually allowed you to do exactly what you're just saying, to listen and to listen to yourself and just
Mm.
to spark your imagination. Um, and yeah, so I complete agreement, like that the humility and the curiosity that drives. I mean, that's certainly something that for me for 2025 is really going to be driving a lot of the work that I'm going to be doing because,
Sure.
especially with this stuff about talking to you and talking to other people outside the legal bubble, far too often we as lawyers try and do everything ourselves, like you were talking
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
and we don't try and listen and learn to people who are different than us because we think we know better. And especially when you're living in an age of such rapid change, when there's
Hmm.
so many changes in
Yeah.
how people are doing business and how people are interacting with each other.
Exactly.
It's just a danger just to keep trying to rinse, cycle, and repeat processes which may or may not be broken,
Fair. Fair. I
right?
I think it's really important as
Um,
well, like you said, to listen, whether it's listening to others, listening to yourself, listening to your own inner compass, whether you call it your intuition or universe or God or whatever
yeah,
it is, your body shutting down, or maybe whatever it's listening to it, because something may not be working. So it's like listening. Okay, what's got to change? Even if it's like listening, if you will, looking. Okay, I have this, but I don't like this part of life, or I'm successful and I'm rich, but I'm burnt out, or I'm overweight, or I'm whatever it is. And coming from someone who was overweight years ago, and luckily I've prioritized my health now. So because I realize that is one of the number one things. I think just listening, like you said, humble, curious, and being able to listen and hear or see the nudges from whatever's friends, colleagues, mentors, the universe, your body, your health, God, whatever you believe, whatever it is, nudges that, okay, this is not working anymore. I probably should talk to someone. 'Cause
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah. So I do want to just touch on this one thing, because again,
for sure.
going back to your history and your story,
Mhm.
again, you had the accolades and then you were like, oh, what are the, when you first started your business, did you suffer from self doubt or imposter syndrome? And how did that A, impact your business decisions, but also, how did you start addressing or responding to those emotions that you must have been running through you at the time?
Fair. Yeah, and it's interesting. I even remember, not even as an entrepreneur, but back at IBM, one year I won Employee of the Year, and so that was a little bit. I got a little bit of ego out of that. That's for sure. So
Yeah.
for a little while, I stopped growing because, well, I'm Employee of the Year. Much it doesn't stink, and I can do whatever I want. Type thing. I'm this and I'm that, and the cat's ass. So but then things stopped working, and even to your point, in the entrepreneur world, um, when things you have that fall for grace, or when things aren't working so well, um, I think you really, really need to take a look and see, okay, well, this imposter syndrome, is there a fear of failure? Is there a fear of not being good enough? Is there a fear of it not working? Or is there a fear I'm at this level, this high level, whether it's lawyer or doctor or employee of the year or millionaire or whatever, billionaire, whatever it is it ego, or, and it's usually both ego, or is it this self-doubt? I work with millionaires and billionaires, leaders, CEOs, execs. We all have imposter syndrome. We all have the self-doubt to some degree. That's for sure. I think it can be a real limiting thing unless we look at it. We can say, oh, no, that's not me, or oh, it's not a big deal, or oh, I'm already this or that, or I have this or that. Whatever, I don't need to look at that. I think we always need to look at where we have that imposter syndrome, self-doubt, the worry about being powerless or not good enough or even unlovable, whatever the deep-seated humanity worries are. That humans worry usually about not being loved, not being powerful, or not being worth it. Even
Yeah.
at high levels. And like I said, even, if someone's not where you want to be yet, well, don't worry, because even exec CEOs, billionaires and millionaires, they also often feel like they're not good enough, not worth it. Someone's going to find out that they're actually not that good or whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, dealing with imposter syndrome, self-doubt, honestly, multiple times at each level, new level, new devils, I suppose. It comes up and it's, well, are you enough, or do you know enough? Are you good enough to now coach these people? Well, now they're millionaires, or now they're billionaires, now they're
Yeah.
not. Are you good enough? Do you know enough to help them? So, and the answer is yes, we can. I mean, I'm humble enough to learn from kids. I learn stuff from my nieces and nephews all the time. I'm like, that is such a great insight. Um, so the answer, I guess, is yes, but I think the question is, it just does it come up a lot? Yes, it still does. And how do I work on it? Well, talking with mentors, talking with people, being reassured, writing down 25 to 50 things of why I am worth it, why I am good enough, why this is kick ass, and why people should pay me 10 times what it's worth, why I know
Yeah.
enough, why I can lead people at X, at Y, Z level. But it comes up again and again, and it's just an evolution. It's just a journey. It will come up again and again. So you might as well.
And sometimes you say, like, you know what, I cannot do this.
Mm,
And I had a conversation recently with Alice Razy, who was talking about the idea of good stress and really bad
yeah,
stress.
sure.
And the idea of, like, there's good stress where you're saying that I need to do well, and using that as a basis to say, like, look, I'm going to read, I'm going to research, and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do my job. Bad stress is when that's actually negative, right? And I think the one thing that, especially when, and I do want to dive into a little bit of the burnout piece after
Yeah,
this,
for
but
sure.
especially when combined, when you're having the idea of, oh, I can't do it, like writing stuff down and just recentering yourself and saying, okay, I am feeling this way. Why do I feel this way? Is this legitimate or not?
Yeah,
What are things I can do to control it and move forward, right? And sometimes it works. I mean,
yeah.
the challenge, I think, with,
Sorry,
and,
Murky, but getting it, getting out of your head and onto paper all your feelings and thoughts and journaling it. But and then also, let me write down 10 or 20 or 30 or 50 reasons why I am, or why I can, or why I
yeah,
should, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, I cut you off. Go ahead.
no, yeah, this is improv, right? So we're good. But the fascinating stuff, and the reason why I love these conversations so much, is challenges that we face sometimes. It's sometimes just being really honest with yourself. And again, going back to saying, like, listening to yourself
Yeah.
and listen, say, I'm feeling this way,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging that, and then addressing it in a constructive manner.
Yeah. I'm not
And I think
okay,
that,
and that's okay. And let's look at this versus using whatever the vice of the day is. Food. I mean, food is one of the biggest
Absolutely.
there is, but that's why I was
Absolutely.
obese. Food, huge drug. What
Yeah.
food, booze, drugs, gambling.
Or addictions. Yeah. And that's exactly it. Like, so again, addictions and social ills are really common in the legal profession. It's in
Sure.
part a result of us not having really healthy ways of having these discussions
Sure.
in a constructive manner. Right.
Correct. Correct.
And again, going back to what you said earlier about not having a mentor or community. And again, this is one of the biggest things that I've seen as a solo lawyer. We have this thing called decision-making loneliness, where we don't know who to turn to and we try and do everything ourselves. And there's a reason why it doesn't work out then.
Sure.
And which then obviously leads into burnout. So when we talk about burnout, I think there's lots of types of burnout. What are some of things that you've coached your the people that are learning for you on? What are the things that you're teaching them about? What are the early warning signs? And you know what, actually talk about this idea. I really want to go back to the idea of identity, because this idea of professional, how does that role of identity play in perpetuating burnout?
Well, I'll answer your second question first because it's a great one. It's huge because our identity, whether it's like caring or worrying what people think about us, which is one of the worst ways to succeed and be happy. And the death of, oh my God, one of the ancient philosophers, it's the death of something, probably happiness. I think it's happiness, but it's just caring. I have to air quotes, maintain this life and do this thing and do this, that, or, whether it's, I mean, a lot of lawyers live fast, hard lives, and there is a lot of vices, addictions there, and not just lawyers, but a lot of people feel they need to, look a certain way, do a certain thing, whether it's participating in drugs or drinking or whatever the social, I guess, normal call it is, or whatever it is, or whether it's burning themselves out or overwork or people bragging about how many hours I work 80 hours a week. And it's like, it's thought we would be bragged about. And I mean, how about bragging about how little we work versus the amount of money you make, not how much we overwork and kill ourselves. That's not impressive to me. I've had you working 90 hours a week, killing yourself. I don't care how much you make. You probably aren't doing life.
Yeah.
Anyways, getting back to the point though, you're right. It's the image and the identity. Well, I'm this, I have to do this, that passive programming we all need to break out of. Because if you're good and you do great work, then, I don't think people really actually care about, how much you drink or don't drink or whatever you do or don't do. If you do great work, you're awesome what you do, you get people results. I think it's actually a self-limiting belief that I can't blank, I have to blank. And I met a number of people, including one lawyer. She actually, she started to hate it, and all she wanted to do was be a yoga teacher. Loved yoga, but she's like, but I can't because I have to maintain a certain lifestyle, certain look, certain image, certain blah, blah, blah. I said, choose to know that you won't make more money as a yoga teacher. I mean, there's yoga with Adrienne. She's a YouTube phenomenon. Lord knows how much money she makes. And it's that identity. I think we need to have, so identity and stopping caring or worrying at least what people think about us, and the boundaries, just to tie into the second question. First question, second. It's having boundaries with not just others, but ourselves. Like, no, I'm not going to do this, or no, I'm not going to put, something in my body. I've stopped drinking, and I met with people, and rarely once in a blue moon will I drink. And I'm okay with that. And I don't, and first of all, it's a little awkward if people drinking at a bar, I'm chilling. And no, I'm like, I don't care. Find having a soda water or a soda, because I feel great in the morning and they wake up with a hangover. So, I guess it's stop worrying what people think about you. And realize that your identity is you. It's not, your job. Your identity is you. If you're a lawyer or whoever that doesn't drink or that doesn't whatever, then cool. And if you're great at what you do, then I think you're just fine. You just nothing to worry about. And boundaries with yourself and with others too was my.
And I think, and just jumping on what you said, I think it's, for me at least, I've seen this idea of burnout really when it comes to my own experience, a lot of times that I burnt out is when I am living a life that's not consistent with with my own priorities.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm trying to be something that I'm not.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that incongruity, or whatever the word is, it just does a number on you because you're doing something that you don't want to necessarily
Exactly.
be doing.
Yeah.
Um,
It's exhausting.
and going back to the idea, of like alcohol vices. I mean, I'm the same way. Like I was never really addicted to drink. That's not my vice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is that I've been very comfortable going out, and whether I drink one beer or it's just soda the whole night,
Yeah. Yeah.
it doesn't matter to me. And like I've never really tried to keep up with the Joneses with the wine or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I always try to keep, at least for me anyway, I know that my clients appreciate me for the value that I bring and
Like,
for me to make good decisions, right? That's what they look. I think that there is a certain image, especially in more corporate law, of, you got to wine and dine clients, you've got to do this, you've got to be out with clients, all that type of stuff.
yeah.
But again, going back to like, so for me, I like to be at home with my kids. That is something that I don't want to miss.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm not going to miss. And you can't pay me enough to not be at home with my kids.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And so that idea of who am I and what is success to me, and you're rooting yourself
Correct.
into that.
Correct.
That is where, like you said, like, why is it that I can't be a yoga teacher and succeed? Like, but if you root yourself into that reality, this is the reality I want to create. It's funny how the world shifts, like by rooting, it just shifts around you.
It does. And it can be scary. It can be scary as hell. And I've been there. Well, what if they don't like me? What if this, or what if it doesn't work? What if that, or what if I, and it's been interesting myself too in the up leveling. And to your point though, do it. And I think you'll get a lot better results than you think. And your worries will become unfounded. It could be because, Ramesh, as you said, if you're a great lawyer, basketball player, doctor, coach, entrepreneur, naked skydiver, whatever your job, whatever you do, if you're great at it and you make a difference to people, I don't think they care if they want to have 3 bottles of wine at dinner and I have 0. I really don't think they're going to care. Unless you're a boring stiff, but just don't be a boring stiff. Have fun too. You can have fun, have a ton of fun without 3 bottles of wine type thing. So I think you're absolutely right on that. Is that the boundaries, the identity, knowing who you are, because with that incongruency or that inauthenticity being someone else, it's freaking exhausting. No wonder people burn out. It's
my goodness,
it's like lying. And in lie, you got to keep up the lie and remember, okay, what was true, what was the lie, and then lie more and more lies to cover up. It's freaking exhausting. Same thing as being inauthentic and not being us. And it's like, this is who I am. I'm a family man. You can't pay me enough to not spend time with my family, et cetera, or environment, or whatever it is, animals, or whatever it is, right? I think that's a very big, know who you are. And I think a lot of us really need to take a deep dive into that and know who we are and what we stand for. Because if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing, and you're going to feel like crap. And thus the vices come in, when we feel uncomfortable or worried or some emotion comes up. It's human nature. Right, human nature, whether it's booze or food. Again, food's the biggest drug there is. Food, booze, sex, rock and roll, whatever it is, versus before I have that drink or that whatever, that cookie, what am I feeling? And again, this come back to listening and getting out of our own ego, listening and thinking about my thinking about how I'm feeling, what has come up and what is this telling me, and why, and what's off? What's off? What do I need help with? And how do I change versus medicating, self-medicating the fear, the worry, the doubt, the emotions, the inauthenticity, the guilt or grief of either being who you're not, working for someone who you don't like. I was anxious, depressed, and overweight my last years in the corporate world because I'm like, this isn't me. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to help people in a different way. And it was very inauthentic. And I was getting sick, overwhelmed, burnt out. So figure out who you are and are you doing that? Are you being that? Does your current work, business, etc., support that? Or your current clients support that? Is who you're being support that? And yes, it's scary as hell, but you may need to change it to be truly happy, healthy, and wealthy. You may need to change that to make it sustainable. Otherwise, you're going to fry. You will fry, if not already.
And I think that's a really good segue into this idea of sustainability and systems, right? Agreed. Because I think that when you're a business owner, you are not an island to yourself, right?
Yeah.
And if you try and think, and going back to the idea of you can't do everything yourself, uh, it's one of those things where you need to have systems
Yeah.
that ensure that you personally are running like a well-oiled machine, but your business and your practice is also doing too,
True.
right?
Exactly.
And so,
You can't do it all
what are some of the
yourselves, whether
things
it's with
you can't
people
do?
and systems or both. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Knowing when to delegate
So,
and outsource.
so when you started your business,
Mhm.
what are the things that you were doing that you've decided, you know what, I'm no longer going to be responsible for? I'm going to have a system involved. And talk a little bit about what the systems are look like right now.
Yeah, yeah. So when I first started, I was doing everything myself, and wow, was that an exercise in futility, burnout, overwhelm, misery? Because I wasn't doing what I loved, like creating business cards. That's not what I love to do. That's not what James is built to do. Or I don't know, admin or bookkeeping. That's not what I'm built to do. So misery, and a lot of us do that, or try to do that, and it's often unsuccessful, especially as we grow, or if you want to grow. So some of the biggest things I outsourced initially was, well, first I looked at 80/20. What is the 20% I'm doing getting the 80% of the results? We've heard it before. We all know this, but do you do it? Do we really think, hey, what gets me the most results? And what do I love doing? What do I actually love doing? Do more of that, and then either cut out, eliminate, automate, or delegate the rest. Either stop doing it. So I stopped doing a whole ton of stuff that I'm like, why? This is just busy work to help me procrastinate against things that I'm scared to do. So I cut that out, made sure I had boundaries around that. Then just looking at delegating certain things, hiring teams, which to my surprise cost me far less than I thought. Hiring great VAs who make great money in other countries, even, or in our country. But whatever you do, hiring people that do great work at a fraction of what you think it's going to cost, and that likely going to do the work better than you because they love it, they're built for it. I'm not built for admin or operations or fiddly things. I'm built for people. As you notice, I like to talk. I like to help people, like to coach, like to present, like to help people. That's my thing, not admin or bookkeeping or uploading this or posting that or click. So I have people who are great at that and who love to do that. So that was my second biggest learning. And I'll add, to do that, I had to work on my beliefs and mindset that, oh, they're just going to screw things up, or they can't do it as good as me, or they're going to steal my company secrets. They'll steal my customers. They'll all be crap. And sure, I hired a few crap people at first until I learned how to hire. And I'm happy to help you with that too and teach you how to hire properly. That's one of the biggest things I did, though, is delegate and outsource, either hiring, either having my VAs. I have 2 virtual assistants now.
No.
Giving me back probably 60 hours, giving me back 60 hours a week because they each do 30 and 30, give or take. And then hiring project-based people as well. I need, X project built or X website or something done. Hiring project-based people or VAs or experts, whatever you call them, was another big thing because I don't want to do it. I'm not good at it. I don't know how to do it. It's going to take me forever. You can do it better, faster, easier, and I can do cool stuff like this, talk to your match or give value, or teach or whatever. So those are some of the biggest and the first few major pillars that made the biggest difference. And then hiring mentors. I'll tag on hiring great mentors specific to what I wanted to achieve. So usually always having 2 to 3 mentors in a specific area where I wanted to grow as well. Those were the biggest things that made just the quantum leap and let me just rocket ahead very quickly.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
and I think that, again, when we talk about business, it's so easy to say, you know what, I know how to hire, I know how to do it. But the fact of the matter is, that's a skill in and of
It's
itself.
true. It is.
Knowing how to delegate and knowing how to trust somebody to do work in a way that you might not necessarily not do, but it's either good enough or better.
Yeah.
And I think, at least for me, I mean, when I started my own practice, it was, I'm going to do everything myself. I don't need an assistant. When prior to me starting a practice, I didn't have an assistant. And so that's all I knew because I didn't think that that assistant was important.
Exactly. Or that it would work. You needed them or whatever.
Right.
It's not your realm of thinking even, oh, I need an assistant.
Right. And then all of a sudden, when you have a good assistant, life changes because now you are no longer responsible for doing confirmation forms or writing this thing. And that piece of the puzzle, the fact that that piece is no longer stress
Yeah.
that you have been involved with is great. And yeah, I mean, and to your point, there have been bad assistants.
Yep.
There have been assistants I mean, that is going to happen.
Yep.
But when you factor in cost, you also have to factor in the cost of you doing it. Right.
Exactly. Not just the, I agree, and not just the time, but the money of you could be having a sales call with someone or enrolling someone new. So it could cost you money, could cost you time, but even going back to burnout, if you're doing stuff all day long and you don't love that, that in itself will kill your motivational, burn you out. You'll, at the end of the day, you'll be just this miserable zombie versus I loved my day. Now it's time for friends or family or gym or play or whatever. I had an amazing day because I did what I loved all versus the misery of doing crap you don't want to do all day. Oh my God, no wonder people burn out. No wonder I was burning out and miserable too at first when I was only doing, 100% of probably most of what I shouldn't be doing.
Just out of curiosity, so I mean, I'm assuming you have a remote team.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, what are some practices that you've been using to ensure that your remote team works optimally?
Yeah, it's a great question. Because you're right, there's micromanaging, but there's abdicating, and I've realized both are not good. Abdicating, okay, you're in charge of sales, you do your thing, you're in charge of this, and that abdication is also bad too, because they may go on a different route, or they may be totally screw it up, or they may do nothing, and you're paying them. So I think that having metrics, like you doing certain things each day, share with me weekly what you did each day, and at the end of the day, share with me what you did that day as well. Also keeping in communication with them. So communicating and having a weekly live call, even a 15-20 minute huddle at least. It also keeps that energy, that personal energy going too. So even a quick, even 10 minutes, if you need, that's all you have, a quick huddle, the personal connection, it's paramount. What's going on, what's working, what's not working, because you can get a lot of data and a lot of information by looking at them. Okay, they're burnt out, they're miserable, they're whatever, they seem disconnected or unmotivated versus, hey, they're doing awesome, they seem great. Versus over a WhatsApp, it can be hard to be like, well, they seem this, or I don't think they're working, or I don't think they're doing that. Or maybe you think they're not working and the actual work they're butt off. That's why you haven't heard from them. But again, keeping in touch or a live call can also confirm that as well to make sure they're not burning.
So one thing that we've been really good at and what's really worked for us is that we would have a week, like every Monday at a set time, we would have a weekly call.
Otherwise it doesn't happen.
And otherwise it doesn't happen. So you put it in the calendar. Another really big thing is time blocking. So I'm a really big fan of time blocking and a really big fan of, if I've got this project down, sure, we can work remotely, but for this 2-hour period, the 3 or 4 of us, we're going to stick in a room together. And that's sort of like a creative, collaborative time.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So even if your team is spread across time zones, you can still do work together.
Exactly. And I love the standing meeting versus, hey, let's connect sometime each week. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And when I've done that, and sometimes I still do that, it doesn't happen. So yeah, having a standing meeting, this is when we meet. That way people know what to prepare and for when, and it's not gonna get nothing else. Oh, I booked up all this week. Oh, I guess I don't have time for a meeting. No, those meetings are very important. So yes, time blocking and also having a recurring meeting same time, which if need be can flex. Or shift if need be, like someone hires me for speaking we do have to shift that. But yeah, exactly. I can flex, but having that standing meeting, so to speak, or that recurring meeting.
Cool. So let's just quick couple of questions about, because we're really big about people taking action.
For sure.
So when we're talking about getting results when it comes to burnout productivity, I mean, what's one thing that listeners can do within either immediately or within 24 hours? What is one thing they can do to start transforming their effectiveness during the day?
I would say start a list, whether it's on your phone or on your computer or a paper list or whatever, and start writing down everything you do. And if you have the list near you, because if you do something during the day, you're like, well, that's not on the list, put it on the list. and it'll quickly give you a visual. Holy crap! I do a ton of things. A lot of I probably shouldn't be doing. And even mark off or circle or color or highlight what you shouldn't be doing, what you don't like doing, what is good for revenue and good for clients gaining, and what is really useless and takes time away from getting clients. And keep adding to that over the next few days. All the things, everything you do, whether it's posting, maybe you shouldn't be posting. My VAs post. I do the content. My VAs will edit and post because that's not my forte, nor do I love that. This is where I love.
Yeah.
So write down that list, and that's my invitation the next 1 or 2 or 3 days, and you'll quickly see you do a lot more than you think, and you probably do a lot more stuff than you think that you shouldn't be doing, or that you don't enjoy, or both. And so it gives you a real good sense of, oh my God, I need help. And I mean, I needed a VA 2 years, 3 years before I hired one. I just didn't realize, oh, I don't have enough work for them, or, oh, I can't afford it. Trust me, you have plenty of work. You can afford it. You can't not afford it. And I would even bet my reputation, we could find even 10 or 15 hours worth of work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, the funny thing is, once you do 10 hours, it'll soon quickly increase to 15, 20, 25.
You do that too. Can you do that too? Exactly. Can you do that too? Exactly. And it's easy.
Yeah.
And with the whole, I can't afford it, trust me, you can't afford not to, because your revenue will increase when you do this. And not to mention, when you have an assistant or two or a team, you look bigger, you look more important, you look more successful.
And it's not even, and not everything is measured in dollars. Things are also measured in time. Things are measured in, like, for example, I measure my quote unquote success as how many dinners I can have with the children.
Exactly.
Right. So that's always example.
And I love that you said that. Success isn't always money. That is for sure. That is for sure.
So we talked about a day. In terms of a week, what's one thing that listeners can do, like within a week?
In a week, I would say to be, your question was to be more successful, or more just happier, or what was the exact question again?
More effective. Like, and I use effective in the broader sense, right? Like whether it be like reducing burnout, or whether it be building the system. I mean, what is one thing that they could do in a week?
Got it. So this is a big one too. So putting your me time in the calendar first, your self-care time in the calendar first. And I thought Dan Sullivan, a strategic coach, was crazy when he told me, put your free time in the calendar first. I'm like, well, when am I going to do business? And if you don't put your free time in the calendar first, there is none. So making sure you have that free time. I promise you, if you take time off, take time for you, self-care time, even 20, 30 minutes a day to think about your thinking, or to reflect. Wow, I need to step off this treadmill for a second and watch myself on that treadmill, or look at the treadmill. Should I even be on that treadmill? Or should I be, are you climbing the wrong mountain, metaphorically speaking? So taking time each day for yourself, just for you. Yes, to think about your thinking as well, maybe do a bit of strategizing and think, but also for self-care, doing whatever you want to do away from business, whether it's the gym, whether it's massage or sauna or yoga, or dancing the hoochie-coo, whatever it is, taking time for you, and that will make you more effective, because a burnt out mind is not creative, it's not effective, it's not efficient. And people usually, well, would you want to buy something from someone that's, I'm James, let's do this quick, I don't have much time, and they're soft, they're burnt out? Or are you vibing with them? No. Versus, hey, amazing to meet you, Ramesh. Let's do this. I'm going to rock your world. I'll help you with your scissor, your legal, or with your whatever. That energy you buy from them energetically too, and they're a lot more appealing than someone that's rested. Never mind, they're a lot more effective and creative when they're rested. So again, self-care time every day.
And again, going back to the idea that if you want to take care of yourself, you're not in a position to make decisions for other people. So yeah, love it.
Exactly.
And I'm also another Dan Sullivan aficionado. So nice. I love all.
Nice.
So
right on.
And again, another beautiful connection.
Beautiful.
So lightning round. So a couple of questions just to end off. So I always love reading. So again, we talk with Dan Sullivan. I'm a big fan of, like, I've got Who, Not How, which is one that changed my mind. But then his other book, 10x is easier than 2x.
Yeah, exactly.
That's something I'm getting into.
Incrementally, right on.
What's a book that has changed your perspective on your business?
There's been lots. I mean, there's one called 90 Days to Life by Rubel Shandy. It's neat. It's a story. It teaches you tools and strategies and systems in a story, which is really cool. It's a big metaphor. So 90 Days to Life is a really great one as well. Oh my goodness, I have so many books. I mean, obviously, How to Win Friends and Influence People and Seven
Yeah.
Habits, Highly Effective People, all those ones as well. I'm trying to think of some of the ones that made the biggest impact.
One book's
Those,
fine. Well,
yeah.
one book's fine. I was just curious because for me, this is also an opportunity to enlarge my reading list. So this is good. What would you tell your younger self about building the business?
Uh,
One piece of advice.
be authentic. Stop caring what people think about you, and go after what you really want and what you really want to be, not what you should be, because that's what is going to attract the best people, the right people to you, and allow you to have the most peace and make the most money. Go after what you want. Be authentic. Who is that? Figure out who that is and go after that.
Cool. And when one last question, what do you do to handle a bad day?
A good question. I get with great people, and so if you've had a crappy day, again, that's why have great people, great mentors in your industry, in different industries. Have a mentor, have a coach, have great people to pull you out of that. I think is one of my best ones. I like fresh air. I think exercise, fresh air, whether it's walking or running or skating or dancing or whatever it is, any kind of activity will also help. Not just getting out of my head during the day. If I need to get out of my head, I'll go for a 10-15 minute walk or run or gym or whatever. But it's just being active, getting fresh air. Oh my goodness, getting some sun. Oh my goodness, is getting outside is paramount. But yeah, activity and hanging out with cool people.
So so thanks so much for this conversation. It was
My
fantastic.
pleasure.
I know that you've got a program called Limitless Entrepreneur. Do you want to tell the listeners about it
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how to
So
connect with you?
thank you. So limitless. It's just limitless dash entrepreneur. Yeah, limitless dash entrepreneur.com. Easy for him to say. Um, limitlessentrepreneur.com, and it's really to help you become limitless as an entrepreneur, looking at what you're doing and how do we take that 10 levels above and scaling while having more time, more freedom, fun, travel, and maybe even giving back or leaving a legacy, while avoiding things like overwhelm, burnout, self-doubt, and imposter syndrome. So really, that's what I do. It's what I love to do, helping people with, yes, scaling the business, leave a legacy, leaving a bigger impact while having more fun and free time and freedom really is the gist of it. Limitless-entrepreneur.com. You can also find me, James R. Elliott, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram as well. You'll find me there also. That is, I guess that's the gist of it. That's probably the
Cool.
best thing on how to
And
find.
that,
Yeah.
that's fine. And again, we'll have links down below
Beautiful.
for you to connect with James. So that's all good.
Beautiful.
James, has been fantastic. I'm really glad that we took the time to connect. Just vibe. I think we've got very similar ways of approaching
I think
how we build our businesses.
I
And to the audience, thanks so much for being a part of this and for listening in. I think from the way I see it, I think there's like three pieces to this really cool conversation. Among many, for me, the biggest things was how to really listen to yourself,
Okay.
especially when you're in a crisis. We covered about the role that identity plays in preventing burnout and to basically stop all the keeping up with the Joneses and
Exactly.
just really focus and really align what you're doing with who you are. And again, from the way I'm looking at things, what this conversation really showing us is that the greatest asset to build our business is really ourselves
Yes.
and the way that we look at things. So thanks so much for showing us a little bit or sharing with us a little bit about how to really protect and nurture that asset as we grow our practices.
You got
Thanks
it, Robert.
again.
My pleasure. Thanks for letting me do what I love. If you want more, check me out on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. James R. Elliott or James Robert Elliott. And yeah, thanks again. And here is to all of your wild success. Thank you.
Cheers.